Hey everyone, I'm Clayfect, and today we're going to make one of the most challenging sculptures I have ever made. We're going to make a Niffler from the Harry Potter universe, a creature that is seen in both Fantastic Beasts and in the game Hogwarts Legacy that I'm a very big fan of. So let's get started. A Niffler is a creature that is obsessed with anything shiny. So of course my little fella should also have nothing but the best and should sit on a pile of shiny stuff. So here you already see me now starting to make shiny stones. And we're doing that by painting the rocks in some thick clear varnish before we shake it in a box full of glitter. After the stones has been glitterified, I paint another thick varnish over them before I set them out to dry. And I have to admit, I was so covered in glitter at this point. It wasn't even funny, even the dogs were. If you want to hear about the glitter bomb incident, I will leave a link down below to a video where my husband is doing the voiceover and he can tell you all about it. But for now, stay tuned because this sculpture is going to be great. Here you see me already done with the armature and starting to put some clay on the little fella. And if you know me, you also know that there's going to be a lot of smoothing involved and a lot of texturing. But if you look at the stomach, there you will see there's a seam that I do not smooth out. I actually highlight it, so to speak, with my clay tool, and the reason for that is because the Niffler actually has a little pouch on its stomach where it hides all the shiny stuff that it finds. So of course my little Niffler should have a pouch too. Before I start with the texturing job, and oh my god, it was difficult. The Niffler is a creature that doesn't quite have fur and doesn't quite have feathers, so I was supposed to make some sort of fur feathers, and it was not easy. That is why I used a straw to make these little circles to put on before I scraped them, as I would scrape fur, to make sort of a phantom effect of feather fur. Or I hope at least it comes out that way. And I promised myself I wouldn't complain too much, but oh my god, it took so long. It's worth it. But it took so long. Just go over and scrape every little circle that I made over and over. It really drives me crazy when I'm doing this, and I know I'm doing this because it looks good, but oh my god. Okay, Clayfect, deep breath. Now that little outburst is out of the way, so to speak, let's calmly enjoy the phototech of me that is slowly torturing myself in the most sadistic way possible, and is slowly becoming more and more insane by the minute. Jokes aside, guys, it was really a relief when it was finally done and I could get to work on the head. Now while I'm doing that, let's have some fun facts about this magical creature called a Niffler. But before I do that, a quick disclaimer. I am not a magical beast expert. I am only just a woman with Google. So please don't come for me, Harry Potter fans. I'm doing my best here. The Niffler is a magical creature which pouch on its stomach seems to go against the laws of physics when it comes to how much this pouch actually can contain. It is known to be a gentle creature, even though it also have a tendency to be sort of destructive. when it looks for shiny things. Wild nifflers live in burrows deep underground, and the female niffler can actually have up to 6 to 8 niffler babies in one litter. So yeah, they're productive, you can say. But overall, they make a great affectionate house pet for any witch or wizard. And that is what I know about this magical creature called a niffler from this universe, the Harry Potter universe that I adore so much. I myself is a Ravenclaw, and my husband, Mr. Clayfect, is of course a Gryffindor. But please leave in a comment, what house do you belong to? I'm very curious. All my friends are either Gryffindor or Hufflepuff. I've only met a few Ravenclaws and I have never met a Slytherin, so please write down if you are. Anyway, let's get back to the sculpture. Here I have placed the eyes as I want them, and now I'm working on his beak. Making a little rim all around his beak with the clay thingy, just to give it some extra details. As I always say, the devil is in the details, and if you have a possibility to give it some more details to your sculpture, do it, because it's very rarely a bad thing to do. Which is why you see me making small bumps for the nostrils instead of just poking 2 holes in the beak. But with the beaks done, it was on to, you guessed it, more texturing. And I really pushed myself as much as I could here, because if you look at the nibbler's head, then you can actually see it is sort of puffy in the feather thingies, and I wanted to come as close as I could to that, so I placed every little feather myself to make this puffy effect. But at this point, you could really see that my poor niffler was in the ugly face big time. I doubted myself every step of the way, but feather by feather I could see that I got the effect that I was looking for, and I was just so happy with it. Even though right now it looks like a bald, bumpy, bad version of a platypus, but it's going to be great, guys, I promise. But oh my god, what work it took. But it was worth it. As soon as I started texturing again, you could really see the effect that I was going for, and I'm just happy with him. But with his face finally textured and the furs blended, it was on to the arms, and thankfully the arms were fairly simple on a niffler. Now, when it comes to my niffler's personality, or rather Mr. Clayfect's niffler's personality, since it's a gift to him, he is as niffler-ish as a niffler can be. I rescued him from some poachers in the Forbidden Forest, and since then he has just been a part of the family. Sure, we find him stealing our silverware every now and again that we have to take away from him because knives are sharp, and he confuses our dogs sometimes when he tries to ride them, but overall he's a good boy. Or girl, we are not quite sure on that front. Oh, and by the way, if you have liked this video so far, please leave a like, comment and or subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and it really helps the channel out. And thank you for everyone who has subscribed to me. It really means a lot, guys. Anyway, now back to the sculpture. Here you see me making his small grabby hands, or claws you can say. And I was nervous about this one. They looked hard, but they were actually fairly easy. The hardest part is I wanted him to hold a gem, as you see here, and make sure that his fingers were positioned just right so I could put the gem in later when he was baked. As I told you earlier, me and my husband's Niffler, is so spoiled. No mountain of gold is big enough for my boy, which is what I'm building right now when I'm doing the base. And on that base, there's going to be lots of shiny stuff he can be proud of, so he doesn't have to steal my silverware. But first, we're going to give this little guy some legs. And I made them pretty much the same way that I made the arms, only thicker. I took a large clay thingy and pressed it against the sculpture and just started shaping. And it's here where reference pictures is your bread and butter as a sculpture. It really helped me out a lot. Also when I made the tail, which was pretty straightforward. I just poked it in and shaped it around the base before it was onto the feet. Now the feet looked actually even more difficult than the hands, but then again, when you looked at it closely, they were pretty much just like hands. So I just made some elongated hands as feet, and it worked perfectly. And with his feet on, we were on the last stretch when it comes to texturing. And you see me pressing a different kind of wormy dealies onto the tail because I wanted another phantom effect. But yeah, with that he was pretty much done. Isn't he beautiful? Though just because he is done doesn't mean that we are done. We still got a lot to do. Starting with a crown that our little guy of course should have. I use a glass covered in cornstarch to make the crown before I found any circular thing I could use and made some indents before I cut and shaped the crown. Now I also made a rim around the crown, but I forgot to hit record, so here you see me slapping another rim around as if to illustrate that I'm doing something. God. Now it was onto the decoration of the base, and of course my husband have taught me how to cut glass, as you see me doing here. Don't try that at home. And I took a lot of different small glass pieces that I used for decoration. But shiny glass and stone were not enough for my nibbler. No. We also needed diamonds and other kinds of gems. And last but not least, he also should have some gold coins. I made them by taking this boxing reindeer pen and used the end to make the round circles. After I had cut the coins out, I used the end of my knife to make a small indent. And in some of the coins I left blank, some of the coins I wrote in, and some of the coins I tricked Mr. Clayfect to write in. And with that done, it was on to decorate the base. And it was at that point I decided to crown the Niffler Lord Takes-A-Lot. All hail Lord Takes-A-Lot. And with the crown secure on Lord Takes-A-Lot's head and the first layer on the base done, I covered His Highness pitter-patter feet before we moved on to the paint. Now everyone who has followed me knows that I'm not good friends with my airbrush, but I think it actually went pretty well. If we don't think of how covered I am in black and gold, but we all know how much that nibblers love gold. And Lord Takes-A-Lot deserved nothing but the best. But yeah, the base were really a challenge. I even took a break and cleaned off the glass before I moved on with the painting. Here you see me dry brushing with some metallic iron color before I move on to painting the crown. And let me tell you, I was covered in every type of metallic color at the end. Plus, I also played with super glue and a clear varnish. So, yeah, I still have paint under my nails that I can't get out. And even though the sculpture was a very big project for me, I'm glad that I took my time and made him just how I wanted him. I mean, nothing less for his lordship, right? After I had put down the base colors, I gave some detailed work and used a light brown wash to darken his hands and his feet before I went in and cleaned out his eyes. Then I decided his lordship still needs some more colors, so I dry brushed a metallic green on him, and I'm just so very happy that I did. I love the effect that it has. But with the paint done, it was time to give his lordship his gem to hold in his hands. Not an easy task at all, also because my fingers were sort of stiff that morning. But when I finally got it in place, it just looked perfect and I could finally move on to the base. And it was pretty straightforward. I took all the things that we had gathered and pressed them wherever I felt like they were fitting in, just to make this big shiny mess. I had a lot of fun with it, though I have to admit, super glue might not be a good mix with me. I don't know how many times I glued myself to the table, let me tell you. But I think it was all worth it, if I have to be honest. The glitter bomb accident, the cutting of glass, the gluing myself to the table, the fact that I can't get the paint off my hands after super glue has been involved. Everything, it was worth it. I am so happy how he turns out. After the base was done, I decided that I didn't like the white gems on the crown, so I painted them red. Before it was time for the varnish, and this time I remembered to put something under my sculpture. I mean, my poor clay mat has suffered enough. And with him all varnished up, he was pretty much done. Which means that is it for this sculpture and it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. I hope you like Sir Takes a Lot. And I hope to see you next time. But if you can wait until next time, why not click on the square to your right? Then you can see another magical creature getting made. Until then, bye!